back next week for the last 5 days winners' week. So the first 4 stage 2, and then this time next week we'll be into the last day when the trophy is presented. There's Mink, of course, former women's world champion, starting her 2nd year on tour, and John Astley from the northeast of England. He's ranked number 83.
They've never played before, but John Astley, being a student of the game, knows full well just how good Mink can be. Former women's world champion, reigning world mixed doubles champion, together with Neil Robertson.
Yes, and she's made it here, unlike Neil, who withdrew, who's supposed to play on day 1. Yeah, it was a good tournament, that. It was 4 pairs, top 4 men's players, top 4 women's players, and it was a good couple of days. It's going to be later in the season, actually. It's back on this season, but it's towards the end of the campaign in Manchester, just before the Tour Championship. We saw the American Ahmed Al-Sayed in an earlier group, and what links him to John Astley is they both appeared in the same stage production, different parts of the world. Ahmed on Broadway in New York, and John Astley at the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield. It's a snooker play called The Nap by Richard Bean, and they required a snooker player to be in it because they had to make a break every night. So obviously you couldn't just have an actor, you needed someone who could play snooker. So John took his chance.
And amazingly, Ahmed Al-Sayed didn't know who John was. I told him that he was the one who'd appeared at the Crucible in the play.
Well, that's actors for you. Yeah, I went to see it. It was very good. And John, it was a little bit of stardust for him. Jack O'Connell was in it, and Jack O'Connell had been in a film directed by Angelina Jolie, and she actually came to watch the play, so we got to meet her. Mink has a reputation for being quite tough, you know. She looks quite a sort of meek character, but on the table, you know, she's pretty tough to beat. Very polite, we saw at the start, of bowing to John Pellew, but wants to win as much as anybody.
And if you haven't seen the 147 break she made, witnessed 147 at the high-end snooker club in Bangkok, it was on YouTube, presumably still is. It was a brilliant break. Last year in the Northern Ireland Open, she beat Mitchell Mann. Now, if she can beat Mitchell Mann, she can beat John Astley.
Well, what a great red and position on the black. Like everyone else here, just trying to settle in early on to the conditions. The table is quick. Oh, well, didn't control that one too well. John Astley a couple of seasons ago beat Neil Robertson in the UK Championship. And of course, he's from a thriving area for snooker in the northeast of England. We've already seen Gary Wilson. David Lilly's on table 2 later. We've seen Elliot Slesser also in this event. Sam Craigie, they all live in that area.
Yeah, David Lilly's going to take on Peng Yi Song next on table 2 in around 5 minutes' time, because Liu Hongyu, making his tour debut, has defeated Ricky Walden 3-1 after losing the opening frame, Dave.
Well, Ricky played well in that frame. You know, you think, OK, it's going to be sort of business as usual, but Liu seems to have scored well in that match, and yeah, it's a bit of an upset. Very attacking shot here to get into the reds. Didn't hold back there, John Astley.
He's a little unlucky here, actually, that one red came down and it's blocked the path of the black to the left-hand top pocket as we're looking. Just dubbing down on the white, though, meant he could pot the ping to middle. I've always liked Astley's technique, Dave. I think it's very sturdy.
Yeah, well, he's had great grounding. I mean, billiard sports, as you know, not just snooker, but English billiards, very strong in that part of the world in the northeast. And there was a chap there who, for many years, we talked about Malcolm Thorne yesterday here in Leicester, but Stan Chambers passed away not so long ago. He was sort of Mr. Snooker in that part of the world, a great figure in the game, gave a lot of players many playing opportunities.
When he regained his tour card last year, John Astley, he didn't do it through Q School the easy way. They beat Michael Holt in the final round. Now, Michael Holt is a shootout champion, a top player. And I think you can't really have a much tougher opponent in terms of experience to play to get your card, but Astley got the job done.
Well, he made an unbelievable clearance. That's also on YouTube. It was, you know, for the ages, actually. Yeah, he's a tough character, I think, John Astley. On his day, it can be a handful for anybody. And I'm sure, having seen that initial draw between Wilson and Ma in the first match, you know, he'll sense an opportunity here. If he can win this, then he'll go top early on. Plays the last match tonight against Gary Wilson.
We're seeing an awful lot of this, players switching hands, in his case from left to right. Some pots have been missed, though, that you would normally expect to be floated in without any problem whatsoever. Using the rest, I still think it's a little risky.
It's a very sort of miserable day outside. It's not, we're not in the sort of full flush of summer today, but inside, of course, it's a very important one, because by the end of it we'll have our 32 players confirmed for the second stage. And then next week it all comes to the boil. We have another 4 days of group action, and then on the last day there's 2 groups, each with 4 players. The winner of each contest a knockout final, best of 5, to be crowned Championship League winner.
And some real quality involved next week. The breakdown so far, 30 completed groups, and 17 of them have been won by the top seed. On Monday, competing on different tables, we've got Corin Wilson and Mark Williams.
Yeah, it's a really interesting mix, isn't it? You know, we've got established winners, such as those two. We've got a lot of players who could win their first ranking event and really kickstart their season to get in the Champion of Champions, you know, boost in the ranking list, boost with prize money. So it's going to be fascinating to see how it all finishes up next week.
Yes, we've had some unexpected stories. We had two bottom seeds win the group, two amateurs, the aforementioned Michael Holt and Barry Pinches, although they're amateurs in name only. And we've had four third seeds win the group as well, so it's not been exclusively the big names advancing.
John Astley advancing here towards a 1-0 lead. And it was interesting early on, you know, he played that shot off the green. It was a bit of a statement. He's going to try and grasp the nettle in this match. Looking at the plant here, it might have to slightly be made. Well, it looks pretty good from that angle. Be disappointed, I think, not to make this.
Yes, the odds definitely in his favour. Seems to be maybe just favouring that right-hand jaw, we'll see. Right-hand half of the pocket, but you can't complain about that.
No, and he can't complain about the kiss he got either on that red. It's finished up all right. See from the overhead they were a little distance apart. Then just clips this red, but it doesn't really go wrong.
Neat. If he's on this red, it could be end of frame. He is. There's the group table quickly, just to confirm that Wilson and Mahai Long played out a 2-all draw. So if Astley can win this match, well, preferably from his standpoint, 3-0, that would put him in a very healthy position early.
Yeah, and he's used to every outcome possible because the player who's in the nap, it actually had different endings depending on how the final snooker match ended, because the actor had to play the last little bit. So there were various endings that were possible, and of course that is the case here as well, very much at Championship League. Already 61 to the good here with 59 on. But a great start this. First real chance, and he's made a frame-winning break. Mink Nutcharut had the early opportunity, just went wrong to this pocket.
Sometimes when it's miserable and damp outside, conditions can deteriorate. That's not the case here. He's moving the cue ball around the table just as easily as all of the players on the previous 15 days. I think the table fitters should be really applauded. Conditions have been excellent. Mink should have potted the red she missed. And it's a mistake that's proved very expensive.
Plays Gary Wilson in the last match. The good news for Gary is he can't beat the high break he made, 1-3-1. Can't quite beat that here. If it were to come down to that. But John Astley will be delighted with this first frame of the season, the blue for a century. What a start. If he was back in the theatre, he'd get a standing ovation.
101.
Reminiscent of Cao Yupeng yesterday on his first scoring visit. He made a 122 break. He had a century in all 3 matches he played, including a 145 to finish off last night. He made 3 centuries on the day, which was the same total he made all of last season. I'm not surprised about Cao making 3 centuries yesterday. I am surprised that he only made 3 the entire campaign of 2022-23.
Well, John Astley's already got one on the board for this season. He's played a great frame here, really has. Barely put a foot wrong. Black for a clearance of 128. Now that's excellent from John Astley. What a start from him. He leads Mink Nutcharut 1-0. Second match of the day here on table 1. John Astley leads Mink Nutcharut 2-1. It was 2-0. He's just lost a very lengthy third frame. On the other table, this is also the second match of the day on that table. David Lilly leading Peng Yisong 2-1. Peng at the table in frame 4, looking to take the draw. First match was something of an upset. New professional, Liu Hongyu, the Asia Pacific champion, he beat Ricky Walden, the top seed, 3-1. This is the last day of the first stage of the Championship League. We're back on Monday with stage 2. That's the last 32, so 8 groups of 4. And then this time next week, next Friday, the final 2 groups, the 2 respective winners meet in a knockout final, best of 5, where the trophy will be presented. So it'll have been 21 days of snooker here at the Morningside in Leicester to decide our winner. Just waiting for Mink to return, having really dug in that third frame. Standard was low, but in the end she polled a couple of good balls towards the end, particularly that black off the last red to get up for the yellow. The yellow was good as well, and she's extended this match and can still get a point. And John Astley, even if he wins 3-1, the 1 frame he's lost could be very significant later on the count back.
Yeah, just going through the format there, Dave, makes you realise how much snooker is involved in this event. 12 matches a day over the first 20 days. That's 240 matches, and then 13 on the last day. So 253 matches in total. But of course, to win it, you've only got to be involved for 3 days.
Yeah, you play 10 matches, don't you, if you're the winner? So we've seen so many different players. Let's drop in on table 2 and watch a couple more while we wait for Mink. This is Peng Yisong, who is in a good position now to get this draw.
Different hairstyle this year to last. I think when he made his pro debut, he was sporting blue hair, if my memory serves me correct.
He's going to stay on to play Ricky Walden in the next match. Walden needing victory really after the earlier defeat. That red stays out, so that's still in the balance. But here we go. This is the last frame on table 1. John Astley 2, Mink Nutcharut 1.
Well, if Astley learns his lesson, he won't get involved in scrappiness, because that would definitely suit Mink. Now that's a much better pot shot to nothing, and she can put Astley in some trouble.
She certainly kept her discipline in that last frame. You know, it was not the sort of snooker she'd enjoy, but she battled through it, and now, sure, feeling great coming into this frame. Well, she's gone on the attack. Pot in the yellow.
Which is surprising considering the red she refused late on in the previous frame, with a potentially bigger reward.
Yeah, maybe she's just feeling better about things now she's won a frame. More confident. But the red stays out.
3.
Well, she went for it. You can't fault that, but as I say, wasn't able to continue the break. It's obviously tight, this.
Yeah, I think he needs to apply some side to coax it in.
Well,
he's dislodged a couple of reds, but look where the whites ended up. In keeping with the previous frame, everything is tough.
Eight. John Astley, 8.
I think it's important for Astley to view this frame as perhaps the most important he plays all day. Of course, if he were to win it and win the match, he would move to the top of the table.
Now table 2 has come right to the boil. David Lilley just potted the penultimate red, so if he pots this pink or blue, or anything really, he should be the winner of the frame. He's looking at the green. That would be enough as well. It'd be 36 in front with 35 on for a 3-1 win. Lilley's going to play the last match against Ricky Walden. Of course, lost his first, so Lilley in a strong position already. It's been very competitive. It could have been any score really. Peng had the chance. We were there. We saw earlier on, but he didn't convert it. And the last frame went to the black as well. So it's been hard fought, this. But the red going in, that confirms David Lilley as the winner. Well, somehow the white has got back down to baulk there. A couple of little kisses. Can John Astley get through to that red? But look where the white's finished. It could have easily have stayed in amongst all the reds. Match just seems to have turned against him for whatever reason. He was firmly in control. At 2-0, he looked like he would win 3-0. But the result is in the balance now. Just removing the red from close to the pocket.
One.
Now that was more like it queuing wise. Not much quality table time for John Astley in the third frame. Could put that to rights here. I think you're right, though, Dave. He was wobbling a little, and then there was that scoreboard malfunction. He missed the brown, and ever since, the early rhythm has been absent.
It has, and he hasn't really done anything to change that. I mean, the balls went scrappy, so it's hard, you know, to make anything happen in that last frame. But now he has got a chance here in the fourth. So it's about really focusing here. Just trying to get back into a nice rhythm now. He has got a break building opportunity and trying to get the match won. Reminder that Mink stays on to play Gary Wilson next. And Wilson needs to win there because he's only drawn his first match with Ha from China. Sorry, Ma Hailong from China.
Lem. Twelve.
A break where it's been multiplied in small increments. The green, the first colour. Now the yellow.
$14. $15.
That was a well-played shot to hold the cue ball for the blue. Ideally for the blue, actually. If he could just drop onto the red to the northeast of the black, that would open things up. deemed as though it was too small a window. But this improves things as well.
20. John Astley, 20.
So the break finally ends at 20, just 25 the difference. I think even if Astley does win, the main emotion now will be relief, whereas the way he was playing earlier, if he'd have carried on like that, I think he'd have been elated with the performance, but it's just become a match of bits and pieces. Yeah, good safety that, as Astley confirms. Match 3 on table 2 about to start. Ricky Walden, Peng Yi-song, and Ricky really needs a win. He's got to win his last 2 matches, surely, having lost his first, and even that might not be enough, but he's got to put himself in that position.
Again there, a draw would be a really good result for Liu Hongyu and David Lilley, who have wins under their belt so far.
I think Astley needs to keep this as open as he can. We saw in the last frame when it went scrappy, it definitely suited his opponent. If it goes like that again, Mink will fancy her chances. But equally, he doesn't want to leave pots on. So trying to open things up, but he's left, well, a good chance here, you got to say.
One. Eight.
No need for any side on the cue ball there as she screwed back. The plain ball shot was fine. And potting that one opens the other.
9.
Yeah, some work to do down the line, but there's 4 reds at the moment in the open, pink and black potable, so she can certainly build a lead in the frame here.
Sixteen. 17.
Not too clever. Yes, a red is on, but it's
24.
a little thinner than she wanted, which means, of course, less control of the cue ball. Yes, and thinking about the white,
Nutcharut award with that.
the red
24.
was overcut. It's the old football cliche, Dave. It's a match of two halves. First two frames, John Astley was scoring heavily. OK, in the second frame he made a few mistakes, but in the end he made a 79 clearance. The way he's playing right now, you can't imagine he'd make a 29.
No, I mean, sometimes players, particularly the first match of the season, they start slowly and they improve, but he's done the opposite. He started superbly, as you say, and then since then it seems to be sort of getting worse every frame for him. He was in control of the match and that has slipped away. Oh, terrific pot.
One.
Terrific pot from Mink. Not ideal on a colour, but even so, some sort of chance here. She's sort of come more into this match, hasn't she? She's made mistakes, yes, but suddenly we're level pegging in terms of scores.
Six. Nutcharut won with that. 6.
Again, I think he's just been sort of sucked into something that's not suiting him. You know, Mink, it seems unlikely to make a frame-winning break, but she picked it off in the last frame. She could do that again. Whereas John Astley, if the balls are in the open, you'd fancy him potentially to make a winning break. But they're all kind of on cushions and awkward, and it's just nip and tuck.
Yeah, you're right. It's not a carbon copy of the third frame, but it's certainly got similarities. Now, that was a classic example, you see. She missed the blue and then hit the green, so no position whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't easy, but he keeps sort of offering up single pots. And all the time, you know, it's just the score is just going up slightly in her favour. Yeah, I mean, that's a great pot.
1.
The cueing was really good there, and what I liked about that shot, actually, she didn't take a great amount of time over it. She didn't overly think. Same there.
Seven.
Well, she may feel now she's in the ascendancy. She's attempted to get these reds into play. Only one has come out. But she has a chance to continue this break. 13 in front. Oh, that was close. Wow.
Nutcharut on the third.
Just stayed out. Yeah,
Seven.
she knows it. Would have been on the next colour as well, but not to beat.
Now, that's the irony of snooker. On several occasions in this match, she's missed balls by miles and got away with it. On that occasion, she was a fraction away from potting the red, and it stayed over the pocket.
1.
Yes, here it is again. Wobbled but didn't drop. But it's not the most inviting table for John Astley, is it? Where these two reds are.
Three. Four.
I'm going to say something obvious here. He's feeling it. You can tell. It was all a breeze the first two frames. Radically different. Frames 3 and 4.
9. John Astley, 9.
Well, if he'd played like this when he was starring in the nap, a few people in the audience might have taken a nap. And yet in the first two frames, as I say, he looked totally professional. And the 1-8 could not have been compiled any better by anyone.
Well, sort of rhythm's gone, but can he steel himself here for the firstly for the long red? 4 points in it. Well, it made a good sound that as it went in.
Yeah, under the circumstances, I think that's the best shot of the entire contest. All very well to knock that ball in when you're free and happy with your game. That was class.
6. Eight.
But over the course of the last 15.5 days, we've seen so many of these balls along the ball cushion stay out. There's one in.
11.
Brown is tougher.
Feels like match ball this. Bound to have some sort of shot on the blue if he pots it. Then the blue would be all he would need. Yeah, well, in the end, he's done well. It was a great
15.
last red. He'll be so relieved because this could have easily been a draw. John Astley was looking good for 3-0 at one point. Mink Nutcharut, credit to her for the way she dug in.
20.
Made it really tough, but ultimately, she's going to come away without any points. She'll stay on to play another Northeasterner, Gary Wilson. John Astley, I'm sure, glad of the break before his next match.
26.